Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to teach you the techniques necessary to build the pond of your dreams using the Savio system. Savio pond designs allow you to create a living pond by mimicking nature. Because you are creating a living pond, no annual draining is required. In fact, it's discouraged. With Savio pond systems, the less you do, the more your pond will flourish. We'll walk you through the construction process step by step so you can create your own uniquely beautiful aquatic garden.
Building a Savio pond system is not difficult. With this video, you'll need only a few tools and a couple hard-working friends. Before you start your project, call your local utility company and request a survey of your yard. Properly identifying gas and water lines is critical.
A pond is a lifestyle choice, opening your outdoor space to new possibilities for relaxation, backyard gatherings, and observing nature. Make it the focal point of everyday living. When choosing a spot for your pond, find an area that dominates its chosen location so you can enjoy your pond from many different living areas. Place it to receive ample summer and winter sun, and avoid putting it under pine or fruit-bearing trees.
The Savio system is based on a 3-level pond design. The 3-level design doesn't require much additional work to build than other designs, and the payoff is enormous. Your pond will run much more efficiently and require far less maintenance. The deepest area of your pond should constitute about 40% of the total surface area. Divide the remaining 60% of surface area between the shallow and mid-levels of the pond. Using computer animation, let's see how this low-maintenance design works. Slightly sloping shallow and mid-levels allow unwanted debris to flow down the first and second stages, aided by the natural forces of gravity, wind movement, and fish. The deepest level also slopes downward. Debris will settle in the deepest point of the pond, where it can be easily removed with a net. Multiple levels also give you the freedom to add more features to your pond, such as a bog area for aquatic and semi-aquatic plants.
The first step in creating your pond is to outline the perimeter with a garden hose. To allow optimal water movement, use a bean or kidney shape as a base. It's important to avoid eccentric shapes, sharp curves, and niches, which trap debris and create stagnant water. Carefully mark underneath the hose around the entire outline. Any bright spray from your local hardware store will do. Next, spray the shelves to indicate the different levels of your pond: shallow, mid-level, and deep. Now remove the hose.
To keep water in the pond, the ground must be leveled. If you don't have access to a transit or other professional equipment, an inexpensive line level can be purchased from any hardware store. Place 2 stakes at opposite sides of the pond site. Attach a string to the stake on the highest side of the pond, 6 inches above ground level. Pull the line taut across the pond to the other stake. Place a line level in the center of the string and adjust the low side until the bubble is centered. Add or remove soil until the ground measures a uniform height along the length of the string. Repeat this leveling procedure on all sides using one of the original stakes as your reference point. When you are done, you may need to mark your outlines again if you moved a substantial amount of landscaping.
At this stage, the Savio skimmer filter and LivingPonds filter must be marked in position. Place the LivingPonds filter on the far side of the pond, facing the primary viewing area. The skimmer filter should be placed closest to the viewing area, about 6 inches away from the pond outline. This layout provides the best view of the waterfall and encourages good circulation. Lay the PVC pipe from the skimmer filter to the LivingPonds filter, making sure you have enough slack to bury the line later. If you're constructing a pond smaller than 1,000 gallons, you may only be installing a skimmer filter. In this case, run the PVC water return line to the location you want your water to return, preferably opposite your skimmer filter.
The actual excavation is a simple 3-step process of digging the shallow, mid, and deep levels. As you go, pile the excavated soil around the perimeter of your pond a minimum of 2 feet away. This will be used for backfill later on. Pile the rest where it can be used to build up the water return or waterfall. Dig the shallow area and the mid-level with a 5-degree slope toward the deepest level. The shallow level should be 10 inches deep, the mid-level 15 inches. The transitions between these levels should be crisp and nearly vertical. Slope the deepest basin to a single point facing the upper levels. The lowest point of the pond should be 24 inches from the ground level, making your pond a total of 2 feet deep. If you happen to have exposed roots or loose rocks, you must remove them to protect the pond liner. Smooth all the shelves, leveling and clearing the soil in preparation for liner and underlay.
Underlay protects and extends the life of the liner. Cut the underlay just a little longer than the dimensions of your pond. Lay each piece of underlay overlapping the next, covering the entire pond bottom. Smooth wrinkles and folds starting from the center and working your way outward. Next comes the liner. The liner should not be cut. Lay the liner to cover the entire pond. Position the liner so there is ample material to cover the front of the waterfall filter. Finally, ensure that there is good coverage on all sides. Repeat the process of smoothing the liner from the center outwards. Liner can be punctured by any sharp objects, so check the bottoms of your shoes carefully.
Here we have a hole. Let's take a moment and demonstrate patching. Clean the area around the hole with alcohol. Use an abrasive pad to roughen a 1-inch circular area around the hole. Cut a round piece of patch slightly smaller than the abraded area. Peel away the backing and apply the self-adhesive patch. Work any air bubbles out and press firmly for 30 seconds.
Selecting the type of rocks for your pond is a matter of personal taste. These coping stones serve to hold the liner in place, as well as add a finished look to your pond. Choose coping stones with flat bottoms that are approximately 6 to 7 inches in height. It's a good idea to place a scrap piece of underlayment between the large rocks and liner for added protection.
In this pond, we're incorporating 2 optional features, a planting bog and a smooth rock bottom. Before we finish up the rock work, let's discuss how you can add these 2 options to your pond. A planting bog is a section of your pond dedicated to marginal aquatic species. Containing them prevents them from overtaking the entire pond. A bog area is built by first placing some scrap underlay and then 4 to 6 inch small stones. A retaining wall keeps the rocks in place. Savio black foam works well for securing the larger stones and filling any gaps in the retaining wall. Later on, plants can be placed directly into the gravel bed. In the bottom of the pond, we're placing a decorative cemented rock shelf. Old-style construction techniques favored piling loose rock throughout the pond. In recent years, this approach has fallen out of favor because it requires draining the pond yearly to remove accumulated debris. The smooth bottom approach makes waste removal easy and allows the pond to run for decades without draining. This enables the pond to reach a stable, natural balance. To create a smooth rock bottom, place 2 inches of fresh cement on top of some scrap underlayment. Press river rocks into the cement. Wash with a wet sponge to expose and set them. Just a reminder, if you choose to do a rock bottom, the new mortar will have a temporary adverse effect on water chemistry. This can be easily fixed with a pH treatment.
Now let's go back to finishing up the rock work. Place coping stones around the perimeter of the pond, leaving space open for the skimmer filter and waterfall filter. Once the stones are in place, flip up the liner and backfill with dirt until it is level with the coping stones. This not only secures the liner, but also creates a slight elevation, preventing unwanted landscape debris from washing into the finished pond.
Now, we'll move on to installing the waterfall. For this installation, a water-resistant moisture barrier is being applied to the concrete wall to prevent dampness in the soil from discoloring the wall. Next, the ground is compacted and concrete blocks are added to give the waterfall some height. The waterfall filter is placed and leveled front to back and side to side. The front is tipped forward toward the pond slightly, a 1/4 inch lower in front than in back. Follow the instructions from your glue manufacturer when connecting the PVC to the back of the filter. When you're done, you'll have a line running to the skimmer filter and another running from the bottom drain to a convenient drainage location, like your prize-winning rose bushes. Bury the filter with soil excavated from the pond and compacted. We used a retaining wall here to give the waterfall some structure underneath.
Constructing the waterfall is a matter of placing rockwork to form interesting drops and cascades. Larger rocks can be used to add drama and interest. Use scrap underlay here to protect the liner from punctures. Building a waterfall is kind of like assembling a jigsaw puzzle without a box for reference. So take your time and make sure your design is good and your rockwork stable. Just like in the main pond, you want to backfill the liner on the sides of the waterfall to keep water in the pond. Leaks most commonly occur in the waterfall due to a low edge or a puncture from heavy rockwork. This waterfall looks pretty good at this point, but it's missing a crucial ingredient. Savio black foam must be used to fill cracks and voids in the rockwork, directing water over the cascades. Without it, water is likely to flow beneath and between the stones rather than over them.
Next, we'll connect the liner to the waterfall filter. Hold the liner up to the face of the filter. Cut the liner to the shape of the opening as shown. Ensure that the rubber weir seal is in place. The flat side of the rubber seal faces outward. Slide the waterfall weir into place. Insert and gently tighten the 4 large screws into the holes in the waterfall weir, firmly compressing the seal between the weir and the filter chamber. Do not over-tighten these screws. Gently lift the weir front. Then slide the liner between the filter and the weir supports. Carefully secure the liner to the waterfall filter using the small tack screws provided. This compression seal will provide a watertight transition between the filter and the waterfall with no glue required. With the weir in place, cut away any excess rubber seal. Simply slide the baffle shield into the pre-cut grooves. Then lay the bottom grate in position.
Now it's time to add Savio Spring Flow, a biological filter media. With little maintenance on your part, Spring Flow will give you crystal clear, clean water. Place the top polishing mat over the Spring Flow. This will keep the Spring Flow in place, but most importantly, adds another component to your pond's filtration. Attach the media stays to the waterfall lid. Now fill your pond to establish the final water level. With the pond full, mark the position of the water level on the liner where the skimmer filter will be placed. Then partially drain the pond 8 to 10 inches to gain access to this area.
Savio skimmer filters are designed to reduce the amount of time you spend maintaining your pond. They work tirelessly to remove debris and maintain a crystal clear water surface. To install, dig a hole 6 inches back from the coping shelf. The diameter of the hole should be 30 inches. Excavate to a depth of 19 inches below the water line marked on the liner. Next, dig a shelf for the skimmer filter neck, 7 inches below the water line and 24 inches wide. Compact the dirt and place the skimmer filter in the hole. You want the marked water level to meet the skimmer 3 1/4 inches below the top of the neck. Add or remove dirt until this is achieved. Ensure that the skimmer is leveled side to side and tipped forward 1/4 inch toward the pond. Make sure the skimmer is flush with the back wall of the coping shelf. Then, with the lid in place, fill around the unit. Use moist sand or pea gravel that's free from clumps. Hand pack the soil every 2 or 3 inches Do not overcompact. Lightly moisten the backfill to aid in settling. Now, let's attach the faceplate. Trim the underlay material to clear the opening. Insert weir dividers and the weir door. Flatten the liner against the front of the skimmer filter and smooth out the wrinkles and folds. 2 locator pins have been included to assist in the positioning of the faceplate. Push them through the liner into the 2 holes provided. Make a 3-inch wide incision through the liner, centered 3/4 inches below the top of the skimmer filter opening. Slide the faceplate over the locator pins to align the screw holes. Screw in the faceplate using 1-inch screws. Start with the corners, installing the screws halfway. Install the remaining screws halfway. Tighten the top, bottom, and sides alternately by hand until the screw heads are flush with the faceplate. After the faceplate is properly tightened, use a knife to trim the liner inside the mouth of the skimmer filter.
At this point, you are ready to install the PVC line and the pump. Attach the pump discharge kit by disengaging the gator lock union and removing the upper assembly. Rotate the lower piece in a clockwise motion to attach the lower fitting. Reattach the upper portion and fasten the gator lock. Slide the PVC through the hole. Lower the pump and plumbing assembly into the skimmer filter. Apply purple primer on the inside of the 90-degree elbow and on the outside of the Aquaflex PVC. Repeat using the glue, and while the glue is still wet, insert the PVC into the elbow. Hold for 30 seconds, then release. Use backfill to cover any exposed Aquaflex PVC. Complete the skimmer filter installation by extending the coping shelf to both sides of the skimmer filter opening. Place a flat rock over the skimmer neck to camouflage.
Refill the pond to water level. When the pond is filled, the weight of the water will cause the liner to settle. The liner can be trimmed and hidden in the backfill at this time. To start the filtration system, simply plug the pump in. Initially, the pond may be cloudy from the accumulation of debris from rockwork and dust. Over the course of a few days, this debris will settle and the pond will gradually clear.
Establish the ecosystem for plants and fish by adding Savio natural beneficial bacteria. The secret to good water quality is good filtration, and good filtration relies on these beneficial microbes. These naturally occurring microscopic organisms live on filter media and underwater surfaces. It takes 4 weeks after adding beneficial bacteria to a new pond for a biological filter to establish. Beautiful, professional-looking ponds are complemented by the finishing touches. Add plants and other landscaping to soften the edges of the pond and integrate it into the surrounding landscape. Within the pond, use marginal and aquatic plants for bog areas and the interior of the pond. Aquatic plants come in many varieties, so have fun and choose plants that reflect your personality. With fish, it's best to add only a few small fish at first and then wait a few weeks for the pond to establish. Consult your local pet shop or pond store for advice on selecting fish and stocking capacities.
Congratulations on choosing a low-maintenance Savio pond system. You'll enjoy the easy maintenance and superior water quality only a pond built with Savio products can provide.
We encourage you to take photos and send them to us at pondstories@savio.cc. We'll put them in our gallery section of our website. They may even show up on our national advertising.